Hi everyone, grace, peace, and blessings. I hope that you are doing well. You know, as citizens of the world today, we go through so much on a daily basis. So much is being thrown at us. Many of us are distracted. Many of us are stressed out. Many of us are stretched beyond our limits. And I'm also feeling that there is a spiritual heaviness on the planet right now, on the earth right now. And it can be felt by every living creature here. Now, in order for us to, I feel and believe, in order for us to survive and thrive in the 21st century, we must preserve ourselves. So self-preservation is of high importance. Now, in order for us to preserve ourselves, one of the key components is analyzation. So every once in a while, we need to step back and look at our lives and determine what's working and what's not working. What's a hindrance and what's not a hindrance? What's holding us back? Now, sometimes these hindrances come in the form of people. And there's two toxic characters that I'm seeing that's becoming more and more prevalent among us. And that is the energy vampire and the spiritual parasite. So in this video, I'm going to discuss these two types of toxic people that you need to stay away from. And I'm going to tell you how to identify them and tell you how to deal with them if they're in your lives and if you ever come across one. So what exactly is a spiritual vampire? I would classify these people as they're basically human drainers. They come to drain the life out of your life. They come to drain your time. They come to drain your energy. They come to drain your happiness. These people are typically, you could typically identify them by certain characteristics. They're the chronic complainers. These people are very, very negative people, right? They also have narcissistic traits. So they lack empathy and everything centers around them. So you have to be careful of these energy vampires. Those of us who are sensitive, those of us who are tender-hearted, those of us who are compassionate tend to attract energy vampires, so we cannot be their suppliers, right? And energy vampires, what they come to do, they come to dump all of their problems on you. What they do, they're takers. They just take, and take from you without giving you anything in return. So if you come across these energy vampire types, beware, be very aware. So the second toxic person I want to talk about, so that was the energy vampire. Now I want to talk about the spiritual parasite. The spiritual parasite is far more sinister and devastating to your life. So like the energy vampire, they also drain and take from you, but a spiritual parasite is usually transmitted through intimate relationships. So these are people who have lodged themselves into our soul, and basically they have entered our spirits through some sort of intimate relationship. So it could be a romantic relationship or a platonic relationship, but they've come through some soul tie and through some bond. So they basically have a hold on you. And what makes them very, very dangerous is because they have this bond. Unlike the energy vampires, you could possibly have a bond with the energy vampires, but what I find is that with most energy vampires is that they come and they take their supply and what they need from you, and then they move on to their next victim. They're usually not there to stay. They come back when they feel like they need to take more from you, so they come and they go. But the spiritual parasite, what they have done, you have become their host, and they want to take permanent residency in your spirit and in your soul. And what makes them dangerous is that there's an element of control and of manipulation. And if they're controlling and manipulating your life, then they can alter the course of your life. And this is why they are dangerous. They can actually alter the course of your life. And if they're in your lives for a long period of time, they can actually destroy you. These people can destroy you. So it's like having energy vampire 2.0 and the energy vampire that doesn't go away. But the spiritual parasite, they're deep. There's a deep bond there. And they're there to just take the life out of you and to control and manipulate you. And that's what makes them dangerous. So how do we identify such people? Now, I want to make things clear, especially regarding the energy vampires, that yes, they come to take and to drain, But I don't want you to confuse these people with people that come into our lives whom we are to serve. Now, God is going to place, He will place people in our lives for us to serve and not to ask or look for anything in return. There's going to be people that come into our lives that we are to help, have compassion and love for, and that we are to help. Don't confuse the energy vampire with those people. See, the difference is between them and the energy vampires that the people that God places in our lives to help and that we are to give our resources and time to, we don't feel depleted by it. You know, it doesn't take anything away from us. God will give us the anointing and the grace to deal with these people, the grace to help these people. And we don't feel like they're taking something away from our soul when we help them out. So God basically strategically placed these people in our lives because we all need help at one point in our lives. So don't confuse the energy vampire with these people. And also what we need to mind and watch out for with these people is that these are usually seasonal relationships. So these are people that come into our lives for a season and that who we are to help. But please don't make the mistake of inviting seasonal people into your inner circle. Trying to invite seasonal people into your life for the long term, because then it can become toxic, because God has had a certain set time for you and those people. And once that time is up, you got to let them go. You got to let it go. All right, you got it? So don't confuse that group of people with the energy vampires. And also, there are going to be times we're going to have to give more in relationships, close relationships like marriages, or with our children, or with family members, or with good friends. Don't confuse energy vampires with that, because we all have our ebbs and our flows and our ups and our downs. So just because someone who you have an intimate relationship, they're going through something and you find yourself giving more to you, the difference is that at some point the tide is going to turn and things are going to change, and then it might be your turn when you need help. So the reciprocity, there's some sort of reciprocity there, and that's how you know you're not dealing with a energy vampire in your life, or even a spiritual parasite. So how do we identify these people? So number one, it's important for us to really take heed to our intuition. Don't ignore your intuition. Is God-given. It's a divine trait from the Lord Himself to help us and to guide us in life and to keep us on the right path. So don't ignore your intuition. So usually when you're dealing with an energy vampire, you're going to feel depleted. You may feel depressed. You may feel like they've sucked all of the air out of the room. They may exhaust you. They may drain you. You usually be careful, because when you are around people that when they leave, you don't feel good. That's a sign that you could be dealing with an energy vampire. And also when you're dealing with a spiritual parasite, the thing is with the spiritual parasite is that you kind of like have to look at it in the long term as opposed to the short term, like with the energy vampire. So with the spiritual parasite, you must look at all your long-term relationships and be like, is my life better by having this individual and by being in a relationship with this individual? Am I better off or worse off having, since I've met this person or been in a relationship with this person? Like, this could be a spouse, it could be a significant other, it could be a best friend, it could be, you know, like a close business partner or what have you. But you really have to examine, am I becoming a better person, or has my life improved by being with this person? If the answer is no, and you've gotten worse, and the conditions of your life have gotten worse since inviting this person into your life, then that could be a spiritual parasite. If you feel like you're being controlled and manipulated by this person, and they're guilting you into doing things, into being with them, then that's a toxic, potentially spiritual parasite. So you have to look at the long term when you're dealing with spiritual parasites, and kind of like the shorter term with energy vampires. So you really have to gauge by how you feel around these people. If you don't feel better, if you don't feel like you can be yourself, if you don't feel like you can be your best self, if they're not, all relationships have challenges, and if you're in a right relationship, you know, all marriages have challenges, family relationships have challenges, even you have challenges with your friends. But the difference is with those challenges, if it's a right and good relationship for your life, if it's purpose for your life, those challenges will help you to become better, not worse. But if you're constantly met with challenges in relationships and you're deteriorating as a person and you're not going anywhere, and the relationship is not contributing to your life. You could be dealing with a toxic, very toxic person. So the second thing, so the first thing is that you have to determine how you feel around this person. The second thing is that you have to redirect your energy. And this is very, very important. It's actually a lesson that I am learning in my life right now. We must learn, this is the key to self-preservation. We must learn to put more of our attention on the relationships and things in our lives that are healthy and that are actually working. We have the tendency as people to put all our energy into toxic things, into toxic people, into negativity, into negative people. Don't put your energy there. Redirect your energy to the relationships that are working. Put more of your time in your relationships to the relationships that are good instead of the relationships that are bad. Put more of your thoughts into the relationships that are good as opposed to the relationships that are bad. Make a practice of that. When you redirect your energy, you will not attract as many toxic people because you're so busy working on what's working in your life, working on what's good in your life, so you won't attract toxic things or toxic people. So redirect your energy. And when you come across these energy vampires, ignore them. Don't give them too much of your time. And that's the last thing I want to raise if you identify that you could possibly be dealing with an energy vampire or a spiritual parasite, is that you need to get away from them. Get away. Get away meaning there's some cases where we can't avoid an energy vampire. We may work with an energy vampire. We may have energy vampires in our family. In certain circumstances, we may not be able to get rid of them or to just walk away. So if that's the case, I would suggest that you limit your time with them, limit the space that you that you invite them into. Just limit your time with them. When they start complaining, when they start begging, when they start asking for things, when they start dumping on you, cut that short. You can cut a conversation short. I know that you guys can. So basically, try to, as much as possible, limit your time with these types of people. And as far as the spiritual parasite is concerned, those people you probably have a very close relationship with, and to be honest, it's not going to get better. It will probably get worse. These people, once they have lodged themselves into your soul and they've entered your spirit and they are controlling the course of your life, and you've allowed them to do that, because once we have formed a soul tie with a person, once we have opened up ourselves to a person spiritually, and that's usually through intimate relationships. Once we have done that, we have given that person spiritual rights. And this is why the marriage covenant is so very deep. And we have to be so careful who we marry. You have to be so careful who we invite in our lives, who we invite into our inner circles, because these people could have a great, once there's a covenant, you've given them spiritual rights, which means they have influence over you and over your life. A spiritual parasite could be controlling you in a different state or even a different country. So it gets pretty deep and gets pretty beyond the surface. So definitely, what you have to do is you have to sever your ties with these people if you can. It's, like I said, it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. And ultimately, these people, you've become their host. You've become their supply. They will suck the lifeblood out of you. They don't feel good about themselves unless they're controlling you or situations in your life because they're insecure. And they feel powerless, and this is why they do this to other people. Don't become their victim. Don't become their host. Don't let them feed off of you. You have to sever ties with these people. If you don't sever ties with them, they will destroy your life. So I highlighted these two toxic people and these two toxic characters because I'm seeing more and more and more of it. Unfortunately, I'm feeling like the people in the world, they're becoming more self-centered, more narcissistic, and we really need to fight against that. We need to get to a point in the earth, and there's enough of us, where we can learn to be compassionate, where we can learn to be a blessing to one another, where our interactions with people shouldn't be where we're always trying to get and take something from someone, where there could be a give and take, where we can be a blessing to one another. So get there on a personal level, continue to do the inner work, and remember, stay away from these people. So I hope this video has been a blessing to you. Please share the video with those who you think it could be of some help to. I want you to be happy. I want you to be blessed. I want you to reach your God-given destiny. I want you to have every blessing that the Lord has in store for your life. But in order to do that, we have to preserve ourselves. In order to do that, we must determine what the hindrances are in our lives and analyze what's happening and be an active participant in our lives, because remember, it's your life and you are 100% responsible for it. So I'm going to see you in the next video. Thank you for watching, and take care and God bless.